Okay. So like I said earlier, the aim here is to kind of give you a bit of background about how the program is structured. Um, in terms of the whole 3-year package, what are the modules? How do that build you or prepare you as a project manager? So that could be summed up in this one illustration. The whole program is structured into 4 teams. We've got the building side, the construction process, the project environment, and the business environment. Basically, as a project manager, we believe that you need both the technical skills as well as the soft skills. So the building part, the modules relating to the building would address or build you or prepare you with the skills that you need in terms of the technology. So you do modules like technology studies, materials, building services. The building services part is just a basic introduction to building services. So it's not a detailed building services module, but we believe that as a project manager, delivering a project with the rest of the project team, it's important that you understand some of the services implications on the project delivery. So the first year modules involve introduction to the built environment, giving you an overview about the wider built environment. Like I said, the material module will introduce you the content of material. What type of material do we use for what type of building? The construction industry and its management also introduce you to the specific industry. How do the industry create the various parties within the project and what the project manager's roles are? And these are all interlinks and they build on each other. So typical for a 3-year program for anybody on full-time and a 4-year program for anybody on the sandwich program. The difference is that those on sandwich will have a year out after second year. So you look at our year out program, which is for the work placement. You go out to the industry for 1 year and work with companies. We will support you in terms of finding a company to work with. So the sandwich year or the year out is after the second year, then you come back to complete. Apart from that, all the modules, everything is the same. And once again, there's a slight difference between those doing BSc project management for construction and BSc construction management. The difference is that the construction management program is not accredited by the professional bodies. Apart from that, everything is the same. So getting back to the structure is that you learn the technical skills, you have issue with the construction processes, so issue like contractual issues. You need to understand contractually, how do the project manager fit into the rest of the industry? What are the contractual issues related? And the project environment, look at the economic side of the issue, i.e. within the wider built environment, how does the economic impact within the economy or the economic performance affect the construction industry? So you learn basic economics in relation to the built environment. There's a bit of computing that you learn. So project management 1 and project management 2 kind of link or build on with some of the stuff that you learn in year 1 regarding construction industry and its management. Once again, the skills that you need as a project manager will be acquired through professional skills for project management. So you learn issue with BIM, the technical skills relating to IT, digitization in the built environment is very, very important as the industry develops. So you learn skills in terms of the relevant software that you need to have hands-on experience with that. And my colleague Chuck offer or deliver that module on building services. Professional skills for project management, not building services. So the final part, which is the business environment, look into the organizational management, introduction to law, to management. So what we are saying is that the modules are well linked together. They build on each other, and there's a rare connection, and it offers all the skills that you need as a project manager. That makes this program unique in its own. There are so many other project management programs within other universities, but this is unique. It's more management oriented. And once again, although it's management, but it's vocationally or related. So that's why we have this accreditation with the professional bodies like RICS and the CIOB. So our program is unique, and I can reassure you that your decision to be at CPM, UCL, which is the School of Construction and Project Management, University College London, is a good decision that you've made. The program is unique in its own way. Our employability record is super because almost every year we had 100% employability because our graduates have the right skills in both the technical and the soft skills, as I've already explained through these 4 teams of building construction processes. So you learn. One unique or model is the Making Cities model. The Making Cities models offer students opportunity to work with other colleagues in other departments, i.e. the planning and the architectural department. So Making City is a model that brings all these students together, more interdisciplinary model where you have the opportunity to learn with students from architecture and students from the planning. And that these kind of models or opportunities offer you the right skills, build you the right interpersonal skills, learning how the architects works, how the planners work, so that you become, a complete construction project manager. Can we move on to the next slide, Andy? So the next slide builds on how these models are linked together within these 4 teams and how they build on from one model from first year to the other. So for a typical example, in terms of IT and digitization, you start with first year with a model competing for the built environment, and you build on into second year with the professional skills for PM, like I've already explained, where you learn a bit about BIM or the planning tools within the built environment or within the project delivery will be built on that. So that gives you the IT skills that you need as a project manager. And with regards to the management team, you'll get introduction to management, construction industry and its management in the first year. In the second year, you move on to intermediate management or intermediate level management through the module called the PM1. Then final year, you build on into the advanced management. So basically, you build on from year one module leads to the another. They are well connected so that you don't kind of study in isolation. These modules are not in isolation. So acquiring these modules in the first year give you the right skills and knowledge to build on into the second year and into the final year, unless somebody who is taking a year out in the industry and coming back into the 4th year to complete the module. On the legal and law side, so you start with basic introduction to law, understanding the English law, then it moves on to contract admin, where you drill down specifically into contract administration within the sector or within the industry, learning more about the standard forms of contract within the construction sector, what kind of contract. So now, first year, you know the English law, you know what the contract is. Then you build on to the specifically into the industry or the contract law, the JCTs and the rest. So once again, the modules build on from year to year. And the final team, which is the construction processes and the technology, start with the first year with introduction to the built environment, as I've explained. The materials built on that in terms of whether it's concrete, are we building with steel, why do we have to use steel in lieu of concrete, and the vice versa. Then second year, technology studies will build on with a start with building services 1, which is a basic introduction to building services as project managers. And more importantly, I think you all agree that now environmental issues, sustainable issues are very, very important within the sector. And for that matter, building for sustainable future is one of the models that people love so much, and we'll introduce you to the sustainable built environment. And the module allow you to use your unique background, whether you are whichever part of the world you are, to see how sustainable buildings are being delivered in your part of the world, what type of materials is being used, let's say in Africa, in Asia, to achieve sustainable buildings. So we don't just concentrate on the UK context, but we allow students to use the context based on the background where they are coming from. And the last part, build on with building service 2. BAM is the build asset management, which also look at the management of the assets. So if you've delivered the project like a hospital, how do we manage these after post-occupancy? Then the PAD is the project evaluation and development. So it's look at more in terms of real estate, how as an industry we develop into these real estate development, the cost of land, how do you develop to make profit, whether it's commercial, whether it's residential. So in a nutshell, this is how the program is structured. And this gives us its uniqueness in terms of the linkages between the modules and the nature of both the management and the vocational aspect of the model. So thank you from this side. My colleague Shelchuk will concentrate on how prepared are we as we move into the next stage in the next few months in terms of the current situation, i.e. our preparedness to deliver both online and in terms of face-to-face as and when it becomes necessary. So I hand over now to Shelchuk to continue with the information.
Thank you very much, Alex.
You're welcome.
Yeah, as Alex said, I'm just going to say a few words about how we are preparing for the coming term in the light of the recent developments. As you probably already know, UCL has taken the decision to have all essential teaching and learning online for term 1, with a possibility to extend it to term 2 as well. On the other hand, there is a commitment to include some face-to-face activities, albeit these will be decided on the basis of the course and the space availability. As you would appreciate, we need to satisfy the social distancing rules. So this means quite a lot of change for both students and members of staff in terms of how we are teaching and how we are learning and how we are assessing. For this reason, there has been quite a lot of work going on in UCL, both centrally, UCL-wide, and also more locally in our school. As soon as the lockdown came, we set up the necessary teams to look at how we can keep engaging with our students to a satisfactory level to ensure the excellent quality teaching and learning. And now, happily, I can say that we came quite a long way and we got all the necessary structures in place. And we are aiming to address the 3 main challenges by doing all these things, as you can see on the slide. One of these challenges is about being connected to UCL community. Being part of a university is more than just studying a subject, and we appreciate that, we understand that, and therefore we've been looking at ways how we can increase the engagement between peers, between the tutors and students, as well as the wider community of UCL. The other challenge has been is in terms of being connected to knowledge and resources. It's one thing to be in campus, having access to libraries, having access to computer rooms, having access to stuff physically, and it's another thing to be online, to having the delivery online. And we are aware of this gap that online teaching is creating. And the final challenge, the final major challenge, is in terms of being connected to the wider world. So one of the things we take pride is that our teaching and community is always world leading and our research is cutting edge. Therefore, this means quite a lot of engagement with the world. So we are a global university. And in terms of being online all the time for teaching, for research, for all the other activities, we acknowledge that this is a huge challenge for us and our students to be, how can we keep connected to the wider world? So to address these challenges in a structured way and in a standardized way, UCL launched the concept of connected learning. Now I'm going to talk a little bit of what connected learning means, with a focus on teaching and learning, because that's the part you will be most focusing on. And can you change? Yeah, thank you. So it has three major pillars. One is engagement, the other one is active learning, and the other one is consistency. We believe that these 3 principles need to underpin everything we do when we are doing teaching and learning fully online. Engagement, meaning How are we going to engage with our students? How are we going to ensure the quality of this engagement and the frequency of this engagement? And also, how are we going to engage with each other to make sure that the program and the modules are run smoothly and the problems are addressed as they emerge? Active learning means how can we use the online resources to make sure that the students actually are not passive receivers of knowledge or information, but they are actually be taking parts in active parts in learning, and therefore they are building their own knowledge. So in this model, the teacher or the tutor is just enabler, and the learning is mainly done in an active manner by the student. And finally, consistency. Because it's important because we will have students from all around the world, and they will be taking various modules, and these modules will be delivered by different people having different emphasis on different kind of topics which may require different ways of teaching and learning. But nevertheless, we cannot just have this as an excuse. We need a level of consistency in the quality of teaching, engagement, and learning we offer. So based on these three principles, connected learning is actually considering the 10 points you are seeing in the blue circle. One of these is structure, and the structure refers to the structure of the course. And there is a commitment that the structure is clear to help students navigate quickly, understand the sequence of activities, access information, and easily understand the layout of unfamiliar courses. Another one is orientation. This is the emphasis on helping learners orientate themselves, especially outlining how they are expected to learn and engage, and how they may contact key staff members to get help when they need. Another one is communication. We want to ensure effective and consistent online communication with and between students. Assessment is a big one. We want to clearly outline assessment requirements and also make sure that the necessary tools and information to help the students in doing their assessments are linked clearly to their course material. Resources. We would like to make sure that we are providing well-labeled learning resources using internal and external sources. Another important one in terms of the consistency and accessibility are the cross-platform and the accessibility itself. We recognize that there will be different students using different types of devices based on different standards. So we are committed to provide files in accessible formats, so nobody is disadvantaged for not being able to open the files. And also, and this has been around for even before the lockdown, we are committed to make the documents accessible in the sense that people with certain mental health issues or learning difficulties, as well as some other disabilities, are not disadvantaged based on the materials we are using, and that's what we call accessibility. So the resources we provide, by following a few simple guidelines, we are aiming to make them accessible for a large majority of our students. Another important thing raising in this under these circumstances are the legal issues. We need to follow good copyright practices. We need to communicate the data protection issues and provide a private space for class interactions so the students have a safe environment to work in. Student active participation is a key one. We are committed to encouraging students to share their learning resources, interact with each other, and participate in online activities. And finally, we are committed to make this in a quality assured way, meaning that staff and students are enabled to evaluate the online learning provision so that this can be improved on a continuous basis from one year to another, or even from one term to another. And this requires, and if you can click the Yes, this requires innovation because most of these things would be desirable even in a non-online delivery context. However, when the teaching and learning becomes fully online, these are not desirable only, but they are absolutely necessary. And in order to switch from the existing systems and approaches to this, we just need to innovate. We need to innovate in terms of our materials, content for teaching. We need to innovate in terms of our systems, infrastructure as university, and we need to innovate in terms of the activities, the range of activities we would and should use to satisfy the necessities of this new world of teaching and learning. That's why we've been working hard over the summer, following the central guidelines as well as taking some local initiatives. Can you click, Andy? Here is what we've been doing in practice as a result of this thinking. We have something called Connected Learning Baseline, and this is a centrally published document which basically informs the members of staff regarding what is the least every member of staff should do in terms of the content, the activities, the online learning environment structure, orientation, and this has been implemented. It's been probably more than 2 months, and there are different layers of quality control to make sure that every module in the university satisfies this baseline. To help staff to develop new material and comply with this baseline, there has been a course mandatory for all staff. So basically, we've all taken an online course over the summer to learn how we can innovate to comply with the connected learning baseline and deliver to the expected excellent quality of teaching and learning. There has been checklists for us to assess our own modules, as well as there has been peer schemes, which means we are assessing each other's modules in terms of how much they satisfy the connected learning baseline. There has been development of teaching toolkits in terms of the potential activities that can be used, what kind of activities would be better for what kind of topics, and all those things to help staff again develop quality content and delivery strategies. And finally, e-moderation initiatives to make sure that we are in frequent touch with our students. Also beyond the module-based engagement, to listen to you and understand what is going fine, what are the problems if there are any, and how can we resolve them. So we are planning some e-moderation initiatives to keep in touch frequently with you outside your modules to hear from you regarding anything related to teaching and learning. Andy? And in the final slide, I'm giving you a link where you can actually visit and understand more what UCL Connected Learning means for students. You can take a note of this, or simply you can just go to UCL website, click the students link, and then from there, academic support and connected learning. Then you might have more information and more examples about what this means for you. But I hope I could give you a general picture of how hard we've been working and how proud we are about ourselves to be ready for the coming year to deliver excellent teaching and learning. Thank you. And now I'm going to hand over to Andy, who is going to talk a little bit about the events that will run to welcome you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Selçuk. Sorry. Okay, so there's some information that's available now for you prior to you coming. So I'm just going to go through some of the support information we've got. So first of all, I sent you in the link in the visual invite about new students page. So that's got a lot of information about online induction modules, about anything you need to do before you arrive, before you start at the university at the end of the month. There's also induction videos. There's information for family or parents that they might want to have a little look at, and there's a checklist of little things to do. Another option is we've got a countdown to UCL newsletter that's emailed weekly. These are always have a regularly themed blogs written mostly by UCL students, but sometimes by staff, but they just provide an informal insider's view of what life at UCL is like. And then we've got this is our new to the university also this year. So we've got a Welcome to UCL app. So it's free to download on any platform. And it gives you all the up-to-date relevant information you know and need, and is constantly being updated all the time with lots of new events that are happening, whether it's run by student union or by the department or by the faculty as a whole. They've got lots of guides about surviving course life, inside and outside UCL. They've got a virtual tour of the campus, and they've got further information about student support and well-being for us. What's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks is that you're going to be sent UCL information to your email address that I contacted you on. So just double check your junk box, it doesn't go in there as well. So it just talks about lots of induction guides about how to engage in university life remotely, look at your well-being, library services, adapting to life in a new place, because many of you might not have been to London before or might be coming from a different country. So lots of things about, and as Selchuk was talking about, the connected learning course as well. So when our induction week starts is the Monday, the 28th of September to Friday, the 2nd of October. So we'll be hosting a range of different events during that time, but you'll have an opportunity to meet some other students in a virtual way and meet the key people that you need to know. So obviously you meet the course leader, the course leaders at the moment, some module leaders, people in charge of some teaching. Everyone will have a personal tutor as well. So if you've got any concerns about well-being or about studying, you can go to them. There'll also be on the Tuesday, there'll be a whole day dedicated to student union events, and they're running lots of different things that are during that throughout the day. And as a whole, during that week, you'll be learning what happens within the program and how this fits into UCL as a wider picture. Ongoing from that, after that time, UCL will be implementing some events about making the most of life within UCL, whether it is remotely or whether if you do come to London, how to engage in the course and the university. And we'll also be doing these things called transition mentors. So these are run by current students, so in year 2 and year 3, who will meet with you guys virtually and just talk about a range of different subjects, whether it's work related or life related. They're there to support you during that time. Okay, so that is it from me, but the floor is open to you now. So thank you very much. Any questions, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat if you need to, or say any questions now. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Andy. Thanks very much, Shelko. Once again, as Andy said, this is Q&A session time. Feel free, if you want to use the raise your hand button, we can unmute your mic and you can ask your question verbally, or if you want to type it to Andy, will be checking to make sure that you will pick up any question that you may have. But the essence of this taster session, apart from the information we are giving you, is to offer you the opportunity to clarify any that you may have, ask any question that you may have any, if you want to clarify anything. So the opportunity is for you now. The three of us will do our best to answer any question that you may have to help you prepare for September. Please feel free. Don't feel intimidated in any way. Like that's why I've said that if you're not comfortable, speaking, you can type your question. But I would even prefer that you make it a bit more interactive. So just unmute yourself, ask any question you may have, and we'll be happy to help answer those questions for you. Let's make it more live and interactive. So don't feel compelled to just listen. If you, for any reason, whatever question, don't think any question is stop it, ask, and we are here to help you out.
Thank you, Alex. We've got a question to start us off. So one person has, thanks very much for the information. How much online style teaching is there, and how much face-to-face sessions is there normal per week?
I think as Selçuk said in his presentation, the aim is that term 1 will be mainly online with a possibility of term 2. Currently, the situation is a bit fluid, so it's difficult to nail, module by module how much. As if things get better tomorrow, everybody will be happy to do a face-to-face delivery. But because of the uncertainty, the planning is that term 1 will be more remotely. Whilst as we move into the term 2, hopefully, or the hope is that things will get better and there will be more face-to-face. Do you want to add anything to that, Selçuk?
Yeah, I think the all essential and core teaching will be online, partly also because the international students who are supposed to join us, but who might not leave their country due to restrictions, or who might be isolating themselves for various reasons, even if they're in the UK, or even the potential local lockdowns that might arrive at any point in the UK. So the idea is that keeping all essential / core teaching online, so anybody who cannot attend the university physically for any reason can perfectly satisfy the learning outcomes and pass their modules and proceed to the next year or the next term. But the face-to-face sessions will be supplementary to the main and essential teaching. So to answer your question, I think I can say you shouldn't expect any face-to-face teaching as part of the essential teaching, but we are planning to include some face-to-face sessions to actually increase the experience, to know you better, and for you to know the university better and start feeling more physically as part of it. So each week, I doubt there will be a face-to-face session, even one each week, but probably there will be face-to-face sessions every now and then in some modules, depending on what topics they are covering, and in case the face-to-face is more useful and there are currently no restrictions in the London or in the university, then those can be brought into face-to-face with an online option as well, because as I said, we don't want anyone to be disadvantaged if they cannot make it to the university.
Thank you, Selçuk, and thank you, Alex. I had another question prior to the start of this meeting that said, asking about coming to UCL just shortly after the beginning of term, obviously because of these uncertain times. they're asking, would that be okay as well to come to London at a later point, even if it is online teaching?
Yeah, I talked about this to the school manager, and the answer I received was, we encourage students to arrive London as soon as they can and as soon as it's practical for that. And if this means that they arrive in the middle of the term, that's fine. Or if they cannot arrive entire term and they arrive beginning of term 2, that's fine as well. That's the whole point of having all the essential/core teaching and learning online. So that's fine. And we understand that things change very rapidly and people might have different circumstances that might prevent them to arriving London in September. We acknowledge that, but we encourage them because we are planning some face-to-face sessions, although currently we don't have the full details of it. There will be some face-to-face engagement, which are supplementary, additional to the core teaching, but nevertheless, it will be better to be in London and receiving them face-to-face if they could.
Brilliant.
Maybe I should give an example of, for example, personal tutoring sessions is one of the things that might happen face-to-face because they tend to happen one-to-one with the personal tutor and student, and it's easy to satisfy the social distancing due to the one-to-one nature of the meeting. So one of the things that we are looking into to make face-to-face is the meetings between students and their personal tutors. The other thing that we are looking is the modules that would require face-to-face engagement more than others that can be studied more easily independently. So it's really the key message is all essential teaching and learning is online. And if they cannot attend the campus, they won't be disadvantaged. The other sessions that will be face-to-face are supplementary sessions, and we will find a way of recording them and making it up for those who cannot attend face-to-face. But we are encouraging people to attend them face-to-face if they can. Are there any other questions?
There's not any other kind of questions that are listed.
You can just unmute your microphone and ask as well, or just type in the chat box. There is someone typing, so let's wait for it. Oh, there are two.
Yeah. So I've got, what exactly are we allowed to access on campus?
As far as I'm aware, the libraries are running collection services. So you have the right to access libraries' collection services. Again, as far as I'm aware, currently the student center has been opened. Student center is a facility, it's a building where there are study rooms, computer rooms. There is a student support center where you can ask about administrative and student life related questions. But our office, our school office, where our offices are based, will be closed with the exception of maybe few members of staff going with special permission due to their personal circumstances who cannot work from home. So you can consider it being closed. And all essential teaching will be online, meaning that you won't need to go to campus to the lecture rooms, to classrooms. So I would say probably it's only the libraries and some student support, UCL-wide student support facilities that will be available and open in campus. And if Alex, Andy, you know more about this, please contribute.
I think you've said it all. Basically, essential services, like you rightly said, like the library will be open for access. And these UCL generally is gradually rolling out a plan to open the campus as much as possible. And like I said in earlier, the situation is there's so much uncertainty. So as things get better, there will be more opportunity for more people. But at the moment, they are opening gradually some buildings, and as time goes on, there will be more buildings being opened. And that emphasis will be on those essential services like the library, the student services, where you can have an appointment to go and pick up maybe an order of books that you've made, or go and meet a personal tutor. So these are the rollout. But once again, as time goes on and things become better, then there will be more opportunity to access most of the buildings at UCL.
Agreed. I agree with what both have said. And to add that this is being the access to the university and is being weekly reviewed in line with obviously the government advice by Central UCL.
Yeah, one thing Alex emphasized, and I want this to be understood very well. As members of academic staff, we are really looking forward to going back to campus as well. So we are side to side with students on this, and we would like to go back to campus. We would like to go back to normal face-to-face education as well. So I want to clarify that as soon as it is practically reasonable and possible, this will happen, because also the higher management in the university is aware of this desire of both students and staff for going back to normal face-to-face mode of delivery and teaching.
Okay, thank you. There is another question. Are there any assessment style parts of a module that are done at the end of such module? If so, how will these be done?
Andy, do you want to answer this?
Okay. Are there any assessment style parts of a module that are done at the end of the modules? So yeah, different modules have different type of assessments. So some only have one assessment, some have more than one, and they are most of our modules are run yearly. In the first year, with the exception of the Making Cities module, which is just the first term. And what we always try and do is spread out assessments across the year for those modules.
If the question actually is asking whether there are any exams at the end of the modules, I can say that all the exams are replaced by other types of assessment for as long as we are teaching fully online. So as long as the teaching is fully online, which is term 1 and term 2 possibly this year, we asked all module leaders to change their examination assessment, if they had any, with other types of coursework. So for this year, and correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, there won't be any examination. It will be all submitted coursework individually or group work, but it will all be coursework submission. There won't be any examination.
No, you're correct.
Could we answer your question, Richard?
Yes, thank you. PZ. Thank you very much. So I've just put a little post up there. If you have any questions after the session, which you may have to after you've had a little think about it, I've put an email address up on there for you. You can email any questions. That's our general inquiries box that either myself or any of the administrative colleagues have access to, and we will answer them the best that we can. Okay, there's no more questions on the chat, just to let you guys know.